future, talk radio will actually educate, inspire, and make you think. The future is now. Topics and music that affect your life from Universal Broadcasting Network. Tune in at ubnradio.com.
All right, welcome to Truth Be Told, the Monday edition. I'm Tony Sweet, and we have Captain Ron in the house, and on a very secret mission, undisclosed location, we have Dean Ryan. How you doing, Dean Ryan?
I'm in an undisclosed location, and I'm on the road, and I'm doing the on the road interviews with for Truth Be Told. So, and I think I posted 2 videos, so the audience can check that out on our YouTube page, because we go the extra mile here on Truth Be Told to get some amazing content out. So please subscribe and support the broadcast. Follow us on follow us anytime you want. We're on iHeart and iTunes and YouTube. Yeah, there you go.
All those great places, and we want to get started because we have a great show for you guys again today.
We do.
And we're going to go ahead into our news segment with Captain Ron. Go ahead, Captain, take it away.
Well, what we've been talking about a lot lately is all these different health issues about Hillary, right? We've got all these different conspiracy theories and whatnot about her health. There's a new one now about Bill's health, Bill Clinton's health. Have you seen this? Where he gave a speech a week ago in Arizona, and he was like, very listless and kind of disconnected from the conversation, and people are kind of worried about him. And then they noticed that his hands are trembling.
Oh, really?
And so now there's been a speculation that he has Parkinson's.
I wonder if it's contagious.
Right? Maybe he got it from her. So and now
I think he has syphilis, Ron.
That could be. That's our next story.
Remember Hitler? Hitler did the same thing with syphilis. He couldn't use one of his hands. So.
Listen, he actually responded to this. Bill himself responded. He said, "Well, I have a condition that sometimes you get with aging. You may have noticed it. My hand gets a little tremor when I'm tired, like a lot of older people." So he didn't say I have Parkinson's, but he says I have a condition.
But he did bring it up, so I'm surprised that he even brought it up.
He said it. That's a quote from Bill Clinton right there. That's interesting. Back to the syphilis thing that Dean brought up. Did you see the story about the prostitute's son, Danny Williams? Her name is Bobby Ann Williams, and her son, Danny Williams, is 30 now. And he claims to be the biological son of former President Bill Clinton.
There's a picture up on the screen right now.
Oh, yeah. Which one's him? Oh, down left there. Okay. Rumors about Danny, this started back in 1985, right after he was born, and it's been going on for years.
By the way, Captain Ron, I was the one that started that rumor. I started that rumor in 1985.
You were what, 4? This is when you jumped in on it.
I'm ahead of my time.
That's right. Attaboy, Dean.
Yeah.
So
I'm confessing.
Thanks, Dean.
I actually think Dean might be Bill Clinton's son.
Anyway. He could be one of those too, right?
Wait, what did Tony say?
I didn't say a word.
Bill Clinton's son?
I didn't say a word.
Could be.
See, Tony, this is how rumors get started.
I know.
I keep telling you
know.
this, and this is why I'm going to be drinking, because you said that.
But this is why when you don't show up in studio, we give you.
See,
shit,
now next week I'm going to have to talk about that as a possible conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
see?
all right.
Therapy. We need therapy.
This guy has set up a Facebook page last year, and he says, I'm Clinton's son, and we'll see. They did a DNA test back in 1999 that some Star magazine did, and it was inconclusive or something. So who knows? That's just another one floating out there. So we'll see. Let's go back to Hillary. So these poor candidates, to be honest, they get so scrutinized. Every little word, every little movement, every little thing becomes this big ordeal. Well, the new one for Hillary is her eyes are starting to wander when she speaks. And so now they're catching this thing about her eyes. They say that her eyes don't move the same way. Her left eye trails, and it can be cockeyed and displaced when she's talking. They have it from the Tonight Show. People, when she was on the Tonight Show appearance, people they were all talking about how they noticed when she was talking, the one eye was looking in a different direction. And there's been a couple. She had another speech the other day, and they saw her eyes were really messed up, and Now, again, they're saying this could be from brain damage, that this optic nerve could be some sort of injury to her brain, and it's another health issue, blah, blah, blah. Who knows?
It could also, Captain Ron, it could also be another form of brain syphilis.
Listen, you and that syphilis keeps coming up. Is that going to be your answer for everything today?
It's
Ron,
a
I
jeopardy.
certainly think you have it. Anyways,
Here's
what's wrong with her eyes?
The wackiest one I've heard to date is the Hillary is actually a robot. Let's see if our guest today feels that way. I know we have multiple people, but I don't think he thinks she's a robot. But there's this video of her clapping when Bernie Sanders was speaking, and it's all over the internet that they're saying this proves she is clearly a robot. Have you seen this video, Tony? Do you have it?
I've tried to find it and I couldn't find it fast enough. So
she claps like a seal, like just the whole time.
Does she do the at the same time? Yeah.
Right. So, and possibly most concerning of all is this document that surfaced recently that just the other day that she once proposed using a military drone strike to assassinate Julian Assange, who's the founder of WikiLeaks. This is pretty interesting.
Pretty damning. Wow, that's damning.
It's very damning. She wrote, "Can't we just drone this guy?"
They were probably sitting at a Thai restaurant having a beer.
No, this isn't an email, buddy. In writing. That's the thing that's very concerning.
See, Tony.
What?
Tony's the reason I'm in an undisclosed location.
Right.
What?
He's in the next building over.
Yeah, he's just right down the street.
He's in the garage.
By the way, to the audience, Tony Sweet does work for the Clinton Foundation, the assassination squad. Just for the record, if
and I clean
did
out
not commit suicide if I died.
And I clean out the latrines after they're done.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's pretty interesting. We should ask the professor what he thinks about this report. What do you think there?
Well, let me just add this, Tony, because I know we got a hot show today, and but before we get started, being in an undisclosed location, I wanted to get back to the studio today because the last interview we did with our next guest, Dr. James Fetzer, has gone viral and is growing by the hour. And as much as I want to be at the studio, Tony's right. I am in a Thai restaurant, and to use the Wi-Fi, and to be here, I had to order their products. So, excuse me. But with that said, Tony, I want you to introduce just an amazing, fascinating guest, Dr. James Fetzer, if you would.
Well, listen, the last time we sat here in awe and amazement that this gentleman who, and he admits it, two-time Bill Clinton supporter, two-time Barack Obama supporter, now is a Trump supporter, and we're excited to have him on because to hear his insight and research and study of this topic of our election in 2016, and to find out what's really going on behind the scenes. We see what the news media, the national news media, not the alternative
and
news
the Clinton
media,
News Network.
And the Clinton News Network. But we have James Fetzer Ph.D. on the show. So we have James with us. Professor, what's going on?
Hey, how great is that, Tony? Listen, if you can flip to slide number 21, you'll see a photograph of Hillary with her eye wandering. Now, this appears to be a result of a serious neurological problem. It appears that she is in the advanced stages of Parkinson's disease, which is irreversible and has all kinds of debilitating consequences, including a loss of cognitive function, which may be why she was being propped up in so many different ways during the debate, as I'm going to expose during our conversation today. But check out that
Jim, before we even get to that, I really want to stay current because this is really bombshell news that's about to take place here in the next 24 hours involving WikiLeaks and the emails that are about to come out. Now, anyone that's been following the story is that Julian Assange made the announcement that this Tuesday, tomorrow, is going to be the October surprise where he's going to be doing the data dump of all the emails that Hillary Clinton deleted, supposedly. However, over the weekend, he made the announcement that due to security concerns, they're no longer doing that. However, within the past 12 hours, the announcement of Julian Assange now saying yes Tuesday is still going to happen. However, he will be remotely releasing that information, I believe, somewhere in Germany via satellite. This is a evolving, changing story. Can you comment on the status of what the hell is going on with this WikiLeaks October surprise?
Absolutely. If you go to slide number 6, you'll see both his announcement that he wasn't going to be able to make the presentation from the balcony of the Ecuadorian embassy in London, where he is ensconced, where recently a fellow was found climbing the wall, not to deliver flowers, but where now we have the late report there on the same slide, the breaking news, that instead of going to the balcony, that he's going to be doing it by way of a video announcement out of Berlin, but he's going forward with the announcement, leading me to infer that the threat was that if he made an appearance on the balcony again, it would be the last time. So he's figured it out. He's got a way to deliver the news right before the vice presidential debate on Tuesday. And from everything we have heard, it's going to be very significant information.
So I remember once I had Laura Eisenhower on the show, and she's telling all kinds of stuff, how the establishment picked the presidency, people don't vote people in, all this stuff. And, her great-grandfather was the president of the United States. But my question was, aren't you scared? Aren't you scared that these people are going to eliminate you? And she said, no, because if they get rid of me, I'm telling the truth. So
Right.
do you think but do you think this point, if something happened to him, don't you think that's pretty much an admission to
Murder, right?
a murder, saying that this is true? So why do you think they would kill him or eliminate him at this time?
Well, you're getting a straight, pure insight into Hillary Clinton's character when you hear her casually say, "Can't we drone the guy?" Because enemies of Hillary have short life expectancies. I mean, in relation to this case alone, we have 3 stunning deaths that happened in short order. We had the death of Julian Assange's attorney here just a few weeks ago. John Jones, a very distinguished attorney, was only 48 years old, well-regarded, lived in a £1.5 million home in Hendon, north of London, with his beautiful and accomplished wife. And he winds up in front of a subway train. Then we have the death of Seth Rich, who was the IT guy for the Democratic National Committee, who appears to have been the source of the information about sabotaging Bernie Sanders' campaign that was provided to Julian Assange. And he's murdered in Georgetown, shot twice in the back. The police claim it's a robbery, but he has his wallet, credit cards, watch, and all that. Obviously not a robbery. And let me
allude, Jim. Let me allude to that too. Let me add to that Julian Assange has alluded to the fact that he was, in fact, not mugged and actually assassinated because he was the DNC leaker. So Julian Assange has hinted to that in recent interviews that he's made in American media. So just to highlight what you just said.
Yeah, and Tony, I don't know if I mentioned this. That slide 3 is about the attorney for Julian Assange and how he winds up in front of a subway train.
Wow.
Slide 4 is about Seth Rich, who, Assange, as Dean was explaining, is all but acknowledged was the source of his information from the DNC about the sabotage of Bernie's campaign. And now in slide 5, get this, the lead attorney who delivered the class action lawsuit against the DNC is mysteriously found dead. This is another very prominent attorney. He's got everything to live for. This is a guy who's, got this one by the short hairs. His name is Sean Lucas. And Hillary just responds very badly to people who get in her way. And I can assure you, all 3 of these guys got in her way. Julian Assange is getting in her way again. If you go to slide number 1, we know, of course, that the Inspector General of the Department of State acknowledged that Hillary's emails had intel from our most secretive classified programs, which, by the way, were not protected by so much as a password. And when you go to slide number 2, you see Julian reporting that he has 1,700 emails in Hillary Clinton collection proving that she sold weapons to ISIS in Syria. I mean, this is serious stuff, because if the American people understand what they are being told by Julian Assange, then they have to come to the realization that Hillary is completely immoral, totally unethical, completely unscrupulous. She'll do anything to benefit herself, including, for example, taking vast sums of money from other nations to benefit them when she was Secretary of State, and selling weapons to ISIS, where, you know, the Donald observed that Hillary and Barack had created ISIS. It turns out that Judicial Watch, a conservative organization, lodged a Freedom of Information Act request and actually obtained the Defense Intelligence Agency documents that created ISIS in 2012. Hillary was Secretary of State from 2009 to 2013. Barack, of course, was then in office, as he remains today. They were responsible for the creation of ISIS, which I reported, among other places, on the Left Forum held earlier this year, that is closely tied with Noam Chomsky and Amy Goodman, where I laid out the evidence in a video presentation of how we know ISIS was made in the USA. So anyone who has any doubts ought to check it out. We know the Iraqi army shot down 2 UK cargo planes delivering supplies to ISIS, that the Iraqi Popular Forces shot an American helicopter doing the same. We have photos of ISIS members sporting US Army tattoos. If you just go online and look for photographs of John McCain with the head of ISIS, or John McCain with al-Baghdadi, who's one and the same, you'll find dozens of photographs.
Now, Jim, let me stop you right there, because this episode that people are watching is really on the heels of a very groundbreaking interview we did last time with you. And I know people are watching this saying, wait a minute, didn't you guys say that Hillary is dead and just using body doubles? So I want to address that real quick. Number one, is Hillary dead and using body doubles, or is Hillary seriously ill and still using body doubles and continuing the campaign? Or are we going to see something where Hillary who's still alive, is going to be assassinated or die because of her illness? I mean, I know she just had a coughing fit a few days ago at a rally. So is this something we're going to see, so she gets out of any kind of legal hot water due to these emails? Or is the woman completely gone and got to the next level, or 6 feet under?
Well, no one expects her to live very long. I was on with Bill Deagle, MD, who's quite a brilliant guy, and he confirmed the symptoms support advanced Parkinson's disease. There's a professor of medicine who has reported that she has less than a year to live. I have multiple other sources who predict she might not even make it to the election, much less the inauguration. Now, I was at that point reporting on 3 reports we had from ABC TV in New York, ABC affiliate in Washington, D.C., and a tweet sent out by Chuck Todd of Meet the Press, NBC, at 9:50. All of 3 of which were reporting that Hillary had died, according to Chuck Todd, at 9:12. Now, I explained during the interview that I thought, in fact, she was still alive, and it appears that this was Hillary at the debate, looking pretty fit, all things considered. But they seem to be keeping her under all kinds of intense medical conditions, pumping her up. You can use Botox and other ways of removing wrinkles and making someone look more youthful and vigorous. But the fact is that the whole debate was a scam. She was acting in collaboration with Lester Holt, the moderator. She was giving him signals by scratching her face, which happened 6 different times, so that Lester would then go on a rampage attacking Trump and then kicking it over to Hillary without asking a new question so that she could issue one of her patented zingers. And moreover, Dean, and this is absolutely stunning stuff, we have multiple reports that, in fact, the questions for the debate were delivered to her campaign manager in Brooklyn a week before the debate, that it was an NBC intern who was known to others in the news media who were in the outside office when he showed up dressed as a FedEx employee.
Right.
Instead
Wow.
of giving the package to the secretary, which would have been the obvious thing to do, he was led directly into the office of her campaign manager. A Fox News guy who was there and noticed all this thought it was very odd. He never came out. They apparently let him out by a different access route to conceal his being there as much as they could. But he went over, looked outside, and there was no FedEx vehicle there. So
okay, Jim, I want to stop you right there because I want to get into the debate and there's a lot to talk about because I saw some very interesting things for that debate, and I actually gave a post-debate analysis on a news program. But before we even touch the debate, just to close the WikiLeaks discussion, and I'm going to get this straight and correct me if I'm wrong, but so tomorrow, which is Tuesday, and if people are watching this in the archive the next day, so we can expect as viewers that the WikiLeaks, the most damning information that's going to be released by Julian Assange of WikiLeaks is that Hillary Clinton sold weapons to ISIS and heads of state. Is something that we should be expecting from the data dump that's coming tomorrow?
Well, he's already announced that he has 1,700 such emails. It may be those are a part of it, but I gather whatever it is, it's going to be a real bombshell, and it's going to be delivered by a video conference by way of Berlin, so that he won't be making an appearance on the balcony where it appears he's been threatened with assassination if he should show up. It would be his last, yeah, that's right, his last appearance ever on that balcony. So,
and they probably threaten his family too in Australia. So, I mean, they always get to people like that. So
this would be totally unsurprising. He may have had his family secreted in a real undisclosed location, Dean, to make them safe. But I admire his courage and integrity in persevering under the most adverse conditions with the release of these emails that the world deserves to know.
And I'm going to ask you.
Now moving forward, Tony, go for it.
Dean, I want to ask you this real quick. Because like I said, I'm just trying to understand this. So if it's released and it does state in her emails that she sold the arms, this is not only going to destroy her candidacy, it's going to ruin Obama's legacy in his office too, because he would have had to have known about it. Correct?
Oh, you're absolutely 100% correct. Yeah, all this stuff. I mean, as I was explaining, we created ISIS. This was a Hillary Obama op through the Defense Intelligence Agency, where Judicial Watch even obtained the documents that created ISIS. It had nothing to do with Assad abusing the people of Syria. It had to do with creating more pressure on Syria for the benefit of Israel. That's right in her emails that have been declassified. There's acknowledgement there and correspondence with Sidney Blumenthal, who is a close advisor to Hillary. And she even states in these emails that Minerva agrees, when Minerva is the name she's using for a secret Israeli intelligence op that's telling her what she ought to do in the Middle East with regard to foreign policy.
Really? So basically, Israel is pulling our foreign policy. They're hating the United States foreign policy by some dog leash.
That's 100% correct. So it's not just AIPAC, this all-powerful Israeli lobby, where Cynthia McKinney recently reported that when new members of Congress reach Washington, they're asked to sign a pledge to place the interests of Israel ahead of those of the United States. Those who do not sign are confronted with an alternative, well-financed candidate next time around, or even discover their district has been redrawn, depending on the time and circumstances. It's a very nasty business where Israel has been completely controlling the American Congress for decades now, sad to say.
I believe that.
Interesting.
And one thing that you said before we do move on that stuck out in my head, that you mentioned McCain. So this is even a lot bigger than Hillary and Obama. This is pretty much the whole establishment. Is that correct? Am I right?
Yes, in Washington, D.C., ISIS is known as John McCain's army.
Wow.
Wait a minute, Jim, are you telling me, let me get this straight, let me just be not even the devil's advocate, let me be the devil for one hot second. Are you suggesting to me in the audience that John McCain, the real American hero, is the author and head chef of ISIS and ISIL?
John McCain is the inspiration behind ISIS, which is advised by two retired American generals.
I did not know
which is
that.
supported
That's
financially by Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the United States. Although Vladimir Putin actually released a list of as many as 40 countries that are contributing to the supporting ISIS, it's a huge scam. And, this is why Obama isn't actually taking aggressive action against ISIS. He created ISIS. He feels
That's what
responsible.
Vladimir Putin said. That's what Vladimir Putin said, Jim.
Putin is spot on. Putin is absolutely telling the truth. Obama, our president, is not. You have to listen to the president of Russia if you want to know what's actually going on in the Middle East. It's a disgrace. A complete disgrace.
All right. Then one other question, and then we'll move on to the debate, because now this is bringing up all my Sagittarius wanting the truth.
Right.
But my
Tony's getting worked up now.
I know.
It
It makes sense, but it also it brings up a lot more. It's like, why would Trump then surround himself with some of the biggest established people?
Neocons.
So, I mean, do we even have a choice?
Here's my candid take. Trump knows better, but he also knows that Israel has the ability to scuttle anyone's campaign, so that until he reaches the office of president, he's not really in the position to sweep clean when it comes to the Middle East. But we know that he wants to get us out of the Middle East. Remember, all those wars were contrived on the basis of the attack of 9/11, which was inspired by the fertile imagination of Bibi Netanyahu, who wanted to figure out a way to get the United States involved in wars to take out the modern Arab states that served as a counterbalance to Israel's domination of the Middle East. That's the long and the short of 9/11. It was an orchestrated event. It was supported by the neocons in the Project for a New American Century. They even wrote that with the unique circumstance of the demise of the Soviet Union, with the United States being the sole remaining superpower, there was an opportunity to create a new American empire worldwide. That's how they promoted it. If only we would move aggressively into the Middle East and exert diplomatic and military influence outward. I think even that was a subterfuge to appeal to American imperialistic ambitions. That really, it never had a greater scope than to take out, the 7 countries in the next 5 years.
Sure. Jim, let me just, I want to ask you real quick, because I know we're approaching a very hard break. But are you kind of suggesting or kind of saying that maybe Trump is following the lead of John F. Kennedy, so to speak, as where he's really waiting to get to the White House to really make that change and kind of almost go against the establishment that's kind of putting him in a way. Whereas if you study JFK, was part of the CFR and all these different mafia, connected to different mafia bootleggers, and then had that epiphany or awakening, if you will, in the White House and totally, what they wanted. Are you kind of suggesting that's what Trump is planning to do?
Yes, based on a wide range of disparate sources, I have concluded that's exactly his plan. And he and Bernie Sanders are one in both their opposition to the TPP and to ending the wars in the Middle East, which means Bernie Sanders supporters actually have a natural ally in Donald Trump, though I believe many of them are going to support Gary Johnson or even Jill Stein.
And all I have to say,
Tony, did you hear that? That's incredible.
But all I have to say is we know what happened to JFK.
That's right.
We do, but at least he was able to make changes for 3 years before they took him out.
Right.
But believe me, there have been predictions that the Donald would never even be allowed to be inaugurated. As long ago as, even a year ago, William Bennett, the former Secretary of Education under Ronald Reagan, was predicting the establishment would never let him get there. And we have a recent apparent attempt at his assassination by a guy who was found in Trump Tower with the identity of an already dead FBI agent, as I recall. He had a weapon that had no serial number, meaning it was manufactured as an assassin's weapon in a professional silence.
That's incredible, Tony. I mean, Ron, Tony, this has given me the jitters once again.
Every one of these could be a film.
I know this. Yeah, maybe in 30 years it probably will be.
Yeah.
and just in closing, before we go to break, is I can see some of the points that that James is making. And my concern too is, correct me if I'm wrong, Ron as well, is that this could potentially be true. But God, when I see people like Rudy Giuliani, one of the insiders, the inside job of 9/11,
Yeah.
really stumping for Trump, I mean, that really concerns me.
It does
I mean,
me too.
that guy is such bad news.
It does me too. Well, we need to take a break. We need to pay some bills here. We need to go to Grow by Nature. So we're going to take about a minute break. When we come back, we have more of Professor James Fetzer. And don't go away. We have Captain Ron Dean on the road and myself, Tony Sweet, right here on Truth Be Told, the Monday edition. We'll be right back.
United States Pharmacopoeia, USP, sets the standard
All right,
for most food supplements and are used in over 95% of all vitamin and mineral supplements in the world. The problem is that these products have never appeared in any living tissue. They're created in laboratories and are not recognizable to the body's metabolism. Grown by Nature products are different because they use renatured ingredients, proprietary blends of essential vitamins and minerals, with cofactors of proteins, lipids, and complex carbohydrates. Over 50 studies have been conducted on renatured nutrients, and over 20 have been published in peer-reviewed journals proclaiming their superiority. As a result, Grown by Nature vitamins and supplements are now recognized as simply the best available. Call 877-817-9829. That's 877-817-9829 and order your Grown by Nature products today. We are what we eat, and since we are of nature, we should eat foods in their natural form. Only Grown by Nature offers a full line of renatured nutrients. Call 877-817-9829. That's 877-817-9829 because not all products are grown by nature, but they should be.
Do you suffer from anxiety, from depression, maybe even chronic pain? Well, listen up. Truth Be Told is going to tell you about a breakthrough program built on over 100 years of therapies used in America's returning veterans to help you successfully overcome PTSD, anxiety attacks, pain, and depression. The secret proven in study after study. Music therapy. The effects of music are nothing short of amazing. From strokes to PTSD, music has been shown to improve the quality of life. Now, one of the latest music therapy programs being used in America's veteran hospitals can be yours to experience for free, at home, and to help your own anxiety attacks, pain, and depression. Or just relax after a hard day. It's called Whole Tones. It takes music therapy to a new level. This revolutionary program makes use of specifically designed frequencies that have been shown to stimulate your body's natural healing power down to a cellular level. If it works for battle-scarred vets, can it work for you? Well, experience it for yourself for free at sweetwholetones.com. Like Tony Sweet, that's SWEET. Go to sweetwholetones.com. Now enjoy the show. All right, we're back. This is Truth Be Told, the Monday edition. I'm here with Captain Ron. How you doing, Captain?
Terrific.
What do you think, Cap?
It's certainly interesting. I think each one of these could be a movie that I would go see because,
I know.
I just don't know what to believe after all these things.
Well,
there's so many,
Oliver Stone in another 20 years might be
right.
making a movie about this. Well,
JFK too.
Yeah, right. And we have back in studio, we have Dean Ryan on the road and Professor James Fetzer on well, I'm just gonna say disclosed, but undisclosed. But he's with us. How you doing, Professor? Welcome back. The Truth Be Told.
Just great, Tony. If you go to slide number 7, we're looking at an image from the debate. And what people don't realize, it was actually 2-1 because Lester Holt was working at the behest of Hillary Clinton. I've already explained about delivering the questions to her a week early. If you go to slide number 8, this is a brand new video which shows that Hillary is scrolling. She has a computer pad there, and her fingers are actually moving in the video so she can go scroll to the questions and the answers. She's that well prepared. And in slide number 9, you get a cartoon, but it typifies what was actually going on. You have the moderator asking all the questions Hillary wants to ask, which are all really very superficial about Mr. Trump. Why are you a tax treat? Why are you a racist? Why are you a birther? Why do you hate women? Instead of asking serious questions about Hillary's health, which is deplorable, about the Clinton Foundation, which has taken, for example, $75 million from Australia in order for Hillary to provide
No, that's true, Jim. And just to back what you're saying, having watched that, I thought it was like, shouldn't we be talking about issues or like asking the Donald, about Rosie O'Donnell for crying out loud, and like some like, I don't know.
You're right. It's completely ridiculous. But that was what was going on. Nothing serious. If you go to another time, you see where Lester was shilling for Hillary. It says here 5 times. It was actually 6. Slide 11 reveals what was going on. He was asking about Donald's tax returns when he never asked Hillary about her email scandal, about Benghazi, about the Clinton Foundation and its dubious dealings, the birther controversy, which the Donald had already disavowed. But, frankly, I've done research on this. Barack Obama was born in Kenya. If you go to Kenya, they have lots of relatives. They have a monument to him as the first Kenyan president of the United States. So the Donald was right about that. Lester even challenged Donald about the stop and frisk policy, claiming it was unconstitutional, which Donald denied, and Donald was right. If you go to number 12, he has some questions about what he meant by describing Hillary as not having a presidential look, and about the Iraq War, where they have been harping on the fact that the very first time Donald was asked about it was on a Howard Stern show about what he thought about Iraq. And Donald just said casually, yeah, I guess I'm for it. They made that out to be a big deal when he immediately looked into it, discovered it was a huge mistake, and was outspoken about it ever since.
Wow.
Wow, Tony.
That's true. That's very true.
We should probably relook at this, Tony. I mean, it's maybe the biggest psyop is on the American public that Hillary Clinton is an actual viable candidate for the presidency.
Well,
if you go to slide 14, we begin here to get the sense about Hillary giving these hand signals to Lester. So she'd scratch her face, and immediately Lester would attack Trump. And then he'd throw it back to Hillary without asking a new question, so she could use a patented zinger. Tony, if you happen to have that videotape set up, I mean, you can see it happen again and again and again. It's shocking. The first part of it is silent, but you get the idea exactly what was going on during the campaign. It's stunning stuff.
I think she was just flipping off Trump. That's what I got out of this.
Yeah, I'm showing it right now.
Lester was being very accommodating. If you're able to play that video, it's really...
It's rolling. It's rolling right now.
Excellent. Well, since there's no commentary there for the first several minutes until the end, when her cleaner comes up, this guy comes up and removes the tablet from her podium and holds it in abeyance until he can return it to Lester Holt, which is a sure sign of their complicity, because Lester wanted to make sure that the questions he'd given to them didn't get out into the public to blow his cover.
And let me just add too, Jim, I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think I am, I was one of the first people in the media to say that Donald Trump's mic was turned up. The treble was turned up all the way, so you could hear every little movement in his nose and his mouth, so it made him sound, sick. Well, and I think that was purposely done. You can hear anything on Hillary, who supposedly has pneumonia, which I believe is syphilis. But anyways, go ahead.
You're right on top of it. Hillary was,
I was the first one.
Hillary was ridiculing him for suggesting there was something wrong with his mic by saying if you're in a debate, you complain about the mic, you've got a problem. But the fact is, you're exactly right. And even the debate commission has now acknowledged that there was something wrong with this mic.
Thank you. I mean, I've worked in sound studios and recording studios my whole life. That mic, the treble was turned all the way up. It was the first thing I noticed. And I went on air immediately after that debate, and I said that on Next News Network. And then it got picked up by everybody else. But it was the first thing I noticed to make him look weak.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And then, believe it or not, you have Howard Dean claiming that because of the sniffles, he thought that Trump had been on coke. This is a guy who doesn't even drink alcohol, for God's sake. I mean, this was shameless.
I have to say I was surprised about that. And many people, and even in his own party, said that he needs to retract that and apologize for that.
Do you think Dean was serious?
Even if he wasn't serious, I don't think it was appropriate.
Oh, no. He was serious. He was serious. He repeated it. When he
Howard Dean? Howard Dean said that?
Wow.
And he's an MT. I mean, this was discrediting of Howard Dean. I used to think he was a decent man with integrity, but he's obviously just a shill.
James, can
Well,
I ask
you know what? I think, Tony, I think Howard Dean, since he can really make things up from the top of his head. Now I'm hearing rumors that Howard Dean is really into bestiality. So there you go.
There we go. Hey, James, let me ask you this. You were saying that Hillary got this FedEx package that gave her the questions about the debate before the debate, right?
Yes.
And
yes.
then you were saying that during the debate she had an iPad or something right there with all the questions and answers on it. Why would she need that if she got them a week before?
Because she doesn't have a memory. She's lost so much cognitive competence.
Come on, Ron.
Wasn't there a mouthpiece in her ear? Or isn't there somebody talking to her ear anyway? She could have that too, right?
Listen, they were on to that from before. Now, there may have been an earpiece there in case she started to freeze up to give her instructions, but it appears that her performance was dictated visually by this pad on her podium. And when we go to the next two stories, 17 and 18, they're both about the delivery of the questions to the office of her campaign manager a week in advance. But here I think we're coming up in the video to where the moderator starts talking about the cleaner taking it and giving it to Lester, which is completely damning.
Wow.
Yeah, it's still playing, so we're...
Yeah, that's fine. Because
just incredible.
See, they scrutinize every little thing. These people, they touch their eyeball, and it's something. You know, I mean, that shows you how they study every little move.
Well, there's been no body language,
right? In the Sting, or even as far back as Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, this little gesture of touching your face is used as a signal. I mean, it's an old one.
Well,
nothing new about it. Hillary needed something simple to signal Lester Holt when he should go on the attack.
Let me, Jim, let me just jump ahead of time here because the USA Today stated in their op-ed section that they are now endorsing Hillary Clinton, and apparently U.S. Today has never endorsed the president in a very, very long time. What is this saying about the establishment now going into the second and third debate that now the pressure's on to really bury Trump? So are we going to see Trump continue to pull punches like he did in the first debate? And the argument too, Jim, is a lot of people, and I got to talk about these people that don't have a voice right now, are still believing that Trump is a shill for Hillary, and their claim to fame is that they'll say to me, look, Trump didn't go for the jugular debate one, and he is definitely shilling for Hillary. And it was pretty evident too, they'll say, that when he made the statement of to Hillary on the first debate of, I'm going to hold back from what I was going to tell you and talk to you about your husband and your daughter. So I want you to address what I just said right there.
Well, let me tell you how bad it is. I mean, you were talking about this child. That child is by a black prostitute. And Roger Stone documents it here in his book, The Clinton's War on Women. He also points out that Chelsea was not the offspring of Bill Clinton, but that Hillary had Chelsea by Webster Hubbell, who was the head of the Rose Law Firm when she was working for him, and that when Webster was indicted for billing clients for work he didn't perform, Hillary had to have been involved in it. He pled guilty and went to prison so they wouldn't do discovery and expose her. And on his way to the lockup, they hired him with a $500,000 retainer to be their lawyer. So Webster couldn't talk about his relationship with Hillary and Bill and vis-a-vis these scandals.
Wow.
That's incredible. Tony, I mean, this is just unbelievable. And going into the next few debates, it's going to be another eye-opening experience.
Well, here's my thing, is if this happens with Assange and it's true, I don't really see a point with Hillary even continuing. Because I think this will destroy her candidacy. Do you think so, James?
We'll see what he's got.
Well, the trouble is that they have got such a lock on the media that they're not reporting these things. Do you know right now that the U.S. has severed diplomatic relations with Russia over Syria, and it wasn't even reported on the NBC News tonight? I mean, this is serious stuff.
Right.
Because the U.S. has been around. Russia has been taking out ISIS. We don't like it. Russia has declared a no-fly zone. So if any U.S. planes fly into Syria, they'll shoot them down. And believe me, they will shoot them down. So the United States has broken off negotiations with Russia about the ceasefire and all that. It's despicable because we're responsible for all these wars in the Middle East, not Russia.
Right. And what makes this even scarier is, just this last weekend, now the internet has went into other hands where now they can censor even more. So
I know
that's true.
The internet was an important tell that, in fact, Trump had won the debate. If you go to slide number 23, is it still playing? Is the video still playing?
Yeah, they just shook hands. Actually, though, they shook hands and it.
Okay, but now listen. He'll start talking about the cleaner.
All right, hold on. Do you want to go to the slide first? Or you want to go to the video first?
No, that's okay. Stay there. Stay with the video.
Okay.
Start talking about the cleaner. This guy who comes up and takes it all and gives it to Lester. Very damning.
Was this at the end? Just I want to make sure.
Yeah, you got to turn up the volume if you don't have it up. Because that's the only
Putting
point where
them
the
under
where
his
the
arm.
sound
All right, I
comes.
just turned it up so people can.
Okay, we should
And
have
he's
him.
seeking eye contact with Lester Holt. And here you can see Lester Holt approaching the man. And here is the delivery done. He's picking them up.
Wow.
The degree of corruption here is simply staggering. Staggering.
No, that's crazy.
Unbelievable.
Well, Professor, this is great information, and I know that people are going to just, eat this up because, people are hungry. People are desperate. People are wanting to know the truth, and, it's someone like yourself that brings us every single time amazing.
Tony,
More
if
insights,
I can squeeze in two more
Of
key
course.
points.
Go for it.
Slide 23.
Let's go for it. Okay.
There were all these polls where Trump dominated 17 out of 21. The Daily Mail reported it. But here one was stunning. The CNBC had nearly 1 million participants, and they gave it to Trump 67 to 33. But here's a political insider reporting about the Facebook reaction. In 90 minutes of debate, there were 73,800,000 comments, likes, posts, and shares. They range from the Islamic State to racism and taxes. Which candidate was more popular? There isn't any question. The winner was Donald Trump. According to Facebook, 79% of the conversations were about Trump, while only 21% were on Hillary. Now, if you want to know what they're going to do in the face of all of this, slip to slide number 25, the last slide in the set. They're still rigging the election all over the country. We can count on the same thing having been planned as we find here in Ohio. A worker in a warehouse discovered tens of thousands of fraudulent votes for Hillary Clinton. They were already made out. They were already in the ballot boxes, all ready to be sent over to be counted. This is as disgusting as it gets.
Wow.
And I guarantee you they've done this all over the country in the key states.
Wow.
Let's end on this, Jim. I want to end on this. If anyone's been following the news outside of the election, the first family member of a victim of 9/11 has sued Saudi Arabia. And Obama tried to veto that about a week ago, and Congress overturned that a few days ago, or 2 days ago, rather. This really sends the beginning of the fall of the House of Cards, where people now who have experienced death and destruction on behalf of the Obama administration drone program, and people who have experienced death and destruction on behalf of Hillary Clinton's invasion of Libya, now have the option to sue both of them. I want to know, in closing, and then tell us where we can find your books, but in closing, are we going to see some major change and eruption here coming on the heels of this news?
Well, the fact is the American people ought to be scratching their heads in utter dismay that Barack Obama would side with Saudi Arabia over the American people in relation to 9/11. That tells you something about where his true loyalties lie. They lie with the Muslim states, not with the American people. He's bringing in tens of thousands of Muslims with no vetting whatsoever. There's a little community in Georgia of 6,000. Yeah. They have received more Muslim refugees than Los Angeles and New York City combined. It's a complete disgrace. This Barack Obama is a traitor to the United States, and he's trying to disrupt it using this cultural invasion program of Muslims that has been sponsored by George Soros. If the American people put two and two together, they'll understand that Hillary would be a continuation of Obama. Hillary represents disaster, just as Obama has represented disaster. If you vote for Hillary, if she's elected, nothing is going to change.
Well,
wow, Tony, I'm lost for words.
Well, I have to say, I think we all are kind of lost for words. But Professor, thank you so much as always, and please, you're always welcome to come back. I know I have a feeling we're going to have you back soon.
My great pleasure, Tony. Thank you all for having me. Terrific.
All right, great interview, and please, everybody, stick around. We have more news to talk about. Dean, you're not going anywhere, right?
No, I'm here for life.
Oh God. What did I do?
Jim,
I was kidding.
Jim is awesome. Yeah, I mean, my God, I learned something new every time.
That is a lot of material in 30 minutes that Jim disperses there. I mean, there's just like such a plethora of stuff.
I can see
absorb.
why he has to have interviews just to get that out, because Jim, that's a lot to keep to yourself there. Yeah. So we'll talk to you soon, my friend.
I'm having 5 interviews just today, but I'll tell you, I especially appreciate what you guys are doing. I think you're right on top of it, and I very much respect that.
Oh, thank you, sir. We appreciate that. That's especially coming from you. So, all right. Well, we're gonna let you go. We're gonna talk a little more news, and we hope you come back and see us soon. Okay?
My pleasure.
All right. Talk to you soon. Oh man!
Wow,
Dean.
Yeah. Where do you go from there?
Tony,
Captain Ron.
I'm sweating. I built up a sweat.
I think it's the
I
beer.
went to the gym. It's the beer. Well, I mean, I'm not drinking beer. Wink.
Wink. Yeah.
I'm just trying to fit in with the Romans here.
Well,
Tony, what is your take on this? This is just incredible.
Well, my take on this is, I mean, I have to say, it's a lot to take in.
It's a lot. There's
for a lot of people
because
we know our government's corrupt. We know that politicians are corrupt. But when you hear the inside stories, I think a lot of times people that listen to us, listen to other shows, sometimes they turn it off. For the fact is, it gets overwhelming. It gets overwhelming, and I can see where people like, oh, I just want to live in my little corner of the home here, don't talk to me.
And you wonder how much of it's completely true. I mean, wonder where's the truth? Somewhere probably in between, right?
Well, even if 10% is true, which is probably very conservative, it's still scary. I mean, it's still a scary situation. But what about you, Dean?
Well, Tony, I said to you off air a few days ago, I said, if we understand that people like Gaddafi and Saddam Hussein and a lot of these dictators or people who are heads of state that have been in power for many, many decades do have body doubles, do have control over media, etc., it's not really insane or conspiratorial to go and say that the Clintons have that kind of power to do such things that we or the media talks about other dictators doing.
Right.
So it's not crazy to say that. Now, having said that, James Fetzer raises a good point. And as we've seen in recent history within the past 50 years or so, there are politicians or presidents that do get into power and have an epiphany or have an agenda of changing their original plans of what they said they were going to do.
Mm-hmm.
Let me give you a recent example. Obama, he said he was going to, before any bill got passed, he said he was going to put it on C-SPAN. He said he was going to shut down Guantanamo Bay, so on and so on. And a lot of those never happened.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not out of the question to say that, hey, you know what? If the Donald gets in there, you know what? Maybe he's not going to be just another neocon. Love or hate him, don't like his attitude. Donald never killed anybody. The Donald never put sanctions on Iraq in the 90s, and about 500,000 women and children died because they didn't get medicine and food. The Donald never invaded Libya, where it just disrupted their society, a sovereign country, and killed many people. The Donald never said invade Syria. So love or hate the Donald, and I'm not endorsing him either way. I'm just saying, look at who Hillary Clinton is. If you have not picked it up by now by by this show, Truth Be Told,
Right.
where we're trying to tell or show the truth the best way we know how.
And speaking of the Donald, let's go ahead and, we've heard quite a bit about Hillary tonight.
We
But
sure did.
Let's go ahead and then let Captain Ron talk a little bit about the other
All
side.
right, let's do that. I mean, I'm exhausted.
I mean, I know you sounded like you were kind of endorsing him there, but the truth is, here, truth be told, the idea is that we
Ron.
don't have a dog in this fight. I mean, our idea is to point out things that maybe take another look at, just things to pay attention to, and just try to point out interesting stuff that's going on out there. Maybe there's some truth to some of this. That's I think our position.
No, absolutely, Ron, and Tony can attest to this. I actually endorsed John McAfee for president. You remember, Tony?
I do. I do remember.
Ago?
I've endorsed Joe Walsh, so go ahead.
You endorsed who? Joe Walsh?
Joe Walsh, yeah.
From the Eagles, okay.
That's him.
All right, here we go. So I don't have a dog in this fight. However, I recognize pure evil and pure war criminals when I see them. And that's exactly what I see with this demonic war criminal goblin called Hillary Clinton. All right? Wow. That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
Point taken. All right. Drop the mic there, Dean.
And boom.
There we go. I got it.
Okay, well, I was going to say that, some interesting things have come out, interestingly. Have you seen that the original George H.W. Bush, the senior Bush, did you see that he said that he's going to vote for Clinton?
I saw that.
That is fascinating. They got Trump's campaign manager saying that it's very ironic that he would vote for the wife of a man who knocked him out of the race.
Right.
He must really not like Trump. Herbert Walker Bush.
George H.W. Bush?
You heard it. That's it.
Wow.
Yep.
That I can't believe a pedophile like that would say such a thing.
Wow. Dean's fired up today.
Yeah, I'm pretty pissed off today.
Now,
another
another very fascinating thing is that these conservative newspapers have come out and for some of them for the first time in 100 and some years are now endorsing
Hillary
Clinton. Yeah. There's Arizona's largest newspaper, for example, called The Republic. It started in 1890. So I was 128 years old, 126 years old, and they endorsed Hillary, which is the first time ever in 126 years that they've endorsed a Democrat. That's a huge thing. And they have some quotes here that they are saying the challenges that the U.S. faces domestically and internationally demand a steady hand, a cool head, and the ability to think carefully before acting. Hillary Clinton understands this. Trump does not. And they go on and on about how he's not fit to do this, and they said you got to handle it professionally and not with a blistering tweet.
You know what, Ron?
That's
they're not
pretty
fit
telling.
For me to, they're not fit for me to read their stupid papers. So.
Well, there you go. A lot of people have actually dropped their subscription to them because they're outraged because those are obviously
and you know
hardcore.
What? Let me just add to what I just said brilliantly. Rolling Stone can go to hell too. I'm so sick of their establishment ass wiping and ass kissing of the establishment Democratic Party. So
can you pan out there a little bit? Is he actually on a soapbox? I can't see in the video. There's a little. Another one, Dean, was the Cincinnati Enquirer. They also, first time in over 100 years, voted for him. And the big deal about that, there's other ones too. Dallas Morning News, Houston Chronicle, all of these. But the Cincinnati one is a big deal because it's been over 100 years since they've endorsed a Democrat, and they are actually in a swing state. Texas, we know which way they're going anyway. Arizona, we know which way they're going.
Cincinnati.
But that's an interesting one.
You know who their mayor was? Ron. Cincinnati's mayor was Jerry Springer at one time. That's all I'm going to say.
That's absolutely true. But this is a significant thing.
Go.
Dean, this is actually very significant because it's research has shown that when newspapers break from tradition like that, people take it seriously, especially when it's over 100 years like that. The few times that has happened in the past, people really have been influenced by that. That's what it says.
You know who takes that? You know who takes it seriously, Ron? Like
Tony.
Old people.
Hey, don't point at me.
Old people take that seriously. Like young people.
Are you calling
really
me old?
Don't
He just called me old.
No. I'm saying young people don't give an S. And you could guess what I'm trying to say here.
I'm sure those people in there are probably going, what the hell is he talking about?
Who's that guy standing on a soapbox over there with sunglasses on? I don't know what's going on.
No glasses.
All right, Chief. Oh, yes, right. No glasses today, right.
So, what else we got?
Well, I thought you were going to wrap it there because you're out of time. It's,
we are out of time. Wow. Yeah. All right. Well, we thank you guys. Listen, we want to hear your comments. We want to hear what your thoughts are, and good, bad. We like it all. I like to hear both sides, and we love that you guys comment to each other, and you guys get heated up. I mean, we love that.
There was a lot of
yes, we do.
A lot of banter there last week.
We
That's
do.
good.
But we thank you guys for listening to us, and we want you to subscribe, leave a comment, and please go to truthbetoldwebtv.com. Check out our website. Go to Honor Tony on Twitter. Go to listen to us on iHeartRadio, iTunes, all these other places you can listen to our shows. But we really appreciate it. Yeah, at the Real D Ryan, Captain Ron. What's your Twitter?
Captain Ron Radio.
Captain Ron Radio. So, we got to get out of here. They're going to kick us off the air. So, I own the station, so
we know a guy we got an inside guy.
All right, well, we'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks, Dean. Great job.
All right.
All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
You guys still there?